Welcome back. We are here for the Between Darkened Mirrors, episode 18. Just going to ask a quick question of what folks remember from last time. There was quite a bit. Um, but to get us set up for this upcoming night phase, which is what we're in right now. Does anybody want to do their masks, many masks from set up from last time? We can start with that. So whomever wants to go first, yeah. And if you can, combining more than one, because everybody had to do Mask of Comedy and everyone had to do Mask of Tragedy. So
And we're doing masks before the recap, right? Or we do recap first.
let's do recap first, and then we'll go to masks. How about that?
Well, on Victor's side of things, I just remember he visited the home of the beetle, talked to them, examined the large insectoid human-sized creature, found out that things were a bit more less straightforward than he was hoping. He was hoping for kind of just like a um like mad scientist potion they could feed the insect and then it'll be all done with. But apparently there's some other there's like a Hindu or like a god that showed up to him and stuff. So yeah, there's a bit more stuff to it than he thought.
Lord James Campbell-Hughes went to the banks of the River Thames at Whitmore Gardens, and he spent some time with a dock worker there named Abel Knox, where looking for the creature and looking for any clues from the creature, and got some, and kind of paid Abel Knox to kind of be a lookout down by the pier.
Whitmore went to the West End during the day, did some investigations on the stage and found some clues, and ran into a knife thrower whose sworn allegiance to the stage manager, Lily DeVere.
And Doc went to go visit the American Saloon at Cremorne Gardens, ran into one of his old coworkers, had a very lively conversation with him, and then I believe had an impromptu meeting with the daughter of the owner of the saloon. Was able to a little bit push past her general skepticism about weird things and get just a little bit more information on the creature.
Before we get into masks, I just want to point out that you are on the question of Creature of Cremorne Gardens, so you have established it as real, and you have to try and figure out what the creature wants to resolve the threat. For West End Wraith, it seems that the Wraith seeks to help, but now you have to try and figure out if they're trying to protect their target from an imminent danger or right an old wrong. And then for the beetle, so you have to decide or find out whether it was an experience at the strange circus lead to the beetle's transformation, or was it his transformation a result of his own prayers? So that is the threshold question for the newest threat. Okay, so yeah, 3 active threats on the board. All right, so let's get into masks before I jump into the unseen, and we can go into night phase. So whoever wants to go first.
I can do mine. I only had 2. I didn't have 3 like a couple of you. And I think I did mine pretty quickly. So we see Lord James Campbell-Hughes. He's with Sir Anthony from the Explorers, the Royal Explorers Club. And they're in another, the sky is otherworldly with strange aurora borealis above them, and it's night, but there's a lot of light coming from the shifting colors in the sky. And Sir Anthony's pulling at Lord James's jacket, and he's saying, "James, we've been duped. The Fae we've been working with are the unseelie Samhain Fae. We've inadvertently delivered the Seelie Stone of Castrax to them. And Lord James is looking is looking at this long stone causeway like bridge across these water that's reflecting the lights in the sky. And he's shaking his head. We should not have trusted the Spider Silk Empress. We shouldn't have. We must flee before we cause any more damage to this realm with our meddling. The village of Castrax will want vengeance, Sir Anthony. So let's try to gather the rest of the expedition, try to get all of our members, and we have to flee. And we see him taking some sticks of dynamite out of this canvas bag. I'll go try to take down the bridge, get everyone to the ship, push off in 20 minutes with or without me, Anthony. And then we see him go down these stone staircase, carrying all this dynamite. That's my master of tragedy. On the master comedy, it's soon after that. It's probably just a few weeks after that, and we see Lord James in this. He's kneeling. He's in this dark room in Buckingham Palace. Thick velvet curtains are closed over the windows, and there's no lights only coming from a couple of oil lamps. And he's kneeling in front of Queen Victoria, who sits in this plush high back chair. And so he's explaining as the camera pans in. He's like explaining. So we failed. We failed, Your Highness. The Unseelie manipulated us into stealing the Seelie Stone from our allies, and we're really afraid that the Spider Silk Empress has it now. There's no way of knowing, but we were not able to get it. The Queen is smiling, and she reaches over to this table. There's a silver tray, and she picks up this padded leather box. It's about the size of an apple. And when she cracks it open to look at it, this glowing blue light immediately issues forth and lights up her face. And so she slowly turns the box around so that Lord James can see the glowing Seelie Stone. And she says, "No, James." That's how she talks. "No, James. You succeeded. Remember, when dealing with the Fae, it helps to look at things sideways." Lord James is like, "What? I don't understand, Your Majesty." "No, dear boy, I suppose you do not. Regardless, we appreciate your commitment to the throne. As always, you have our thanks, Lord James Campbell-Hughes." And that's the mask of comedy.
Whitmore had 3 masks. I've combined a mask of the past with the mask of tragedy. But I think we start with the mask of comedy. Perhaps the shortest flashback we've thus far seen. It's actually sometime during the week prior. And it's Whitmore in the basement of Hargrave House in the servants' quarters. It's dark. It's dim. And he's got a wash basin in front of him with a scrub board. And it's just him taking clothing from various different people through the wringer, scrubbing it through into the water, soap suds foaming up, and placing clothing on the line. And then you just hear the word shit as a garment comes out. Amongst the line of otherwise completely white clothing is a blood-soaked towel. It's not clear whose it is, but it's gone in with the whites. And so this blood-soaked towel gets set aside, and the first garment comes out, and it's one of Whitmore's shirts, and it's pink. The second one comes out. It's one of Lord James Campbell-Hughes' shirts. It's also pink. Doc's socks come out pink. Victor's underwear, bright pink. And you just see Whitmore doing this mental math, trying to figure out if he can actually afford to replace everyone's garments with actual white ones, realizing that it won't be till next paycheck. and hands back everyone pink garments. At a later point, we see everyone wearing their pink garments, looking fabulous. The pink just looks lovely on Whitmore and Lord James Campbell-Hughes. It's a nice bright color in an otherwise drab place. Doc's socks help him stand out from the crowd. And Radamintha even mentions to Whitmore about Victor taking an interesting approach in their relationship. And so the pink clothing works. As far as the mask of the past mixed with the mask of tragedy, mask of the past is narrated a flashback to when you were more of a family member to your employer than someone of their own flesh and blood. And so we find ourselves at the London necropolis. It's beautiful in the fall. Trees of every shade cover this grand cemetery just outside of Surrey. On an ordinary day, animals, squirrels, birds, scamper throughout the grounds, picnic goers take in the fresh air. Near loved ones, both recently and not so recently departed, the wind whistles pleasantly through the trees. On an ordinary day, this is a beautiful place. However, this is not an ordinary day, as our camera once more finds Whitmore in a rain-soaked London cemetery. Oh, unlike the last time that Whitmore attended a funeral in the rain, this cemetery is grand, befitting the man being laid to rest. And this time Whitmore has an umbrella. The sound of rain bouncing off that very black cloth umbrella matches the slow footfalls of the funeral march, this large procession moving towards a gravestone. As the procession approaches a freshly dug grave, the only family member in attendance walks at Whitmore's side. The camera, the rain, and Whitmore's umbrella seem insistent that we do not see this man's face. The wind begins to pick up, drowning out the priest's words as the service begins, replacing them with what to the untrained ear sounds like a great fey spirit wailing in the dreary day. At the fey wind's insistence, the umbrella in Whitmore's hand shakes and starts to dance. The rain falls on the face of Lord James Campbell-Hughes. Adjusting the umbrella, Whitmore sees, worryingly, that Lord James Campbell-Hughes's eyes are looking anywhere but at the ground Simon will soon reside in. Whitmore leans into his employer's ear and whispers, "Is there something in the trees that's more important than the funeral?" The deep calm of a man's voice who lost his brother simply replies, "She's mocking me, Whitmore." The man's eyes darts from tree to tree. "Can't you hear her?" There were two answers to that question. Whitmore could be honest and tell Lord James Campbell-Hughes that he only heard the wind and the priest. Or Whitmore could be kind. Whitmore chose to be kind. "Tatiana isn't mocking you. She would not come so close to a cold iron cross," Whitmore would reassure him, while gesturing at the plain cross the priest enunciates with. Though an unusual last-minute substitution, the priest accepted Whitmore's gift without question. "Not her, Whitmore. Isabella. She's mocking me for getting my hopes up." Whitmore glances back in the procession path, hoping that Isabella Campbell-Hughes would simply materialize before the priest finished his words. But Whitmore can't summon her any more than he could bring back the dead. And in this moment, Whitmore's mind wanders back to Abigail, his own late wife. Maybe a midwife would have saved her life, not the expensive city doctor. There hadn't been time to grab both. Whitmore knew this, and she'd been dying. Whitmore had to choose. Evidently, he chose wrong. The doctor he'd paid. Oh, the doctor he'd paid to kill her and the priest he'd paid to bury her had sent him into a debt that now, 3 years later, he had just paid off. But that choice, that debt, led him here, to Lord James Campbell-Hughes. Maybe he hadn't chosen wrong. The only words clearly heard that snapped both men to attention is the chorus of people saying Amen. Both the illusion of the happy life that Whitmore had and a family that actually cares for him. Two illusions shattered with a single word. Realizing that the rain had soaked his employer's face, Whitmore adjusts the black umbrella once again to cover the face of a man that Whitmore had never seen cry. But if there was a day for it, it would be today. Today should have been a day the entire Campbell-Hughes family wept. Instead, Mr. Whitmore shed tears enough for them all.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all. Unfortunately, Bob, Doc's player, has technical difficulties, so hopefully we'll see him back soon. Let me just double check myself here on the unseen part.
I can go next while we wait for Bob.
No problem. Great. Thank you.
All right, so I have 3 masks also. I will start with the mask of comedy. We see Victor in front of his mother's desk in her study, back in whatever big castle they live in, somewhere in Europe. She goes, I know you believe that your actions don't warrant this consequence from us, but Victor, as much as I can acknowledge your skill in taking down the foes we present to you, the amount of collateral damage we have to clean up for you has been much too high of late. And we cut to Victor. Probably like, if this was like real life, maybe like late undergrad, early grad school age, maybe a few years away from how he looks joining Hargrave House with everyone else. He's just there, not really paying attention, or at least pretending not to, when he deep down does care about what his parents think about him. And he goes, Mother, I don't need a babysitter. And his mother goes, Reeves isn't a babysitter. He's one of our most decorated companions for our family. He followed both me, your father, and we were glad to have him. And the camera pans to the side. And basically, if the Factotum multi-classed into the legacy, that's the kind of character we're seeing. If there was some sort of like formal butler outfit that acts the same way as like leather armor, that's what he would be wearing. Very thin but very angular features, and he's just there listening, not really putting up much of an opinion about anything. And then Victor just goes, Fine, Mother, I will take Reeves to Barovia with me. As long as he doesn't get in the way, and it's only for a few assignments, I will suck it up, I guess. And then as they walk out, the door closes behind them. Reeves turns to Victor and just goes, "It will be a pleasure to work with you, Master Victor." And Victor goes, just do your best to keep up, Reeves. And Reeves goes, "Of course, Victor. I plan to not be a burden to you." And this is the Mask of Comedy. So it smash cuts, and we see some in like a dank, dark place. We just see Victor and Reeves just like vomiting their guts out. And Reeves goes, "Victor, how in the world?" And at this point, Reeves like had lost all of that like calm demeanor. He's like sweating. It's like, "How in the world did you convince me to have all those drinks the previous night?" And Victor goes, "My friends have been asking me that for years, Reeves. And that wasn't just any drink. That was I believe that was wine made by the Rivias, and those people are, and it's coming from me, so it means a lot. Those people are superhuman, Reeves. So that's not meant, especially for your constitution." And he goes, "Fine, Victor." Just keeps vomiting. And Victor like puts up an ear into the air and just goes, "Reeves, run." And they begin running through the halls of this dank place. And Reeves just goes, "Victor, there's one final question. Where did the baby come from?" And the camera pans out a little bit, and Victor has like a baby Bjorn with a baby on it. And Victor just goes, "I don't know, Reeves. I believe I said to the one of the villagers I was going to babysit for them tonight, but this is where we are now, and we just have to get out of here." And they just run off into the distance. And then at some point, there's like a bunch of smash cuts with Victor and Reeves just like fighting different monsters. Reeves doesn't really keep up with Victor as much as he just makes openings from different monsters. He like fights with the staff and a couple throwing daggers. There's a few well-placed shots here and there in the legs and the knees, and Victor is always there for the killing blow right at the end. And now it's the Mask of Tragedy. Maybe like we see a few months pass, and Victor walks in back to his mother's office or study, and his mother goes, "Victor?" And Victor goes, "Mother, would it be is Reeves available for my next assignment?" And his mother goes, "Victor, you can fully handle this assignment. It's gonna be difficult, but you don't need Reeves." And Victor just goes, "Well, we've just really seen how well we work together. Really, it's a greater than sum of their parts situation." And his mother goes, "Victor, Reeves is busy doing other things." And Victor goes, I'm sure I'll be back much earlier, ready for Father's birthday, actually, if Reeves comes." And his mother goes, "Fine, you can take Reeves." And Victor goes, "Thanks, Mother," and we'll leave and goes to this. And we just see Reeves and Victor walking, and this is the Mask of Tragedy. And Reeves goes, "Victor, this is just a small village that popped out of nowhere. There's a regular supernatural occurrence. You could have handled this yourself. There's no huge, really, creature we have to deal with or are aware of." And Victor just goes, "This is just a little important to me, Reeves, and I wanted to make sure to have everything I needed, including you. This village is in the exact same place where I finished some of my training with the other scions, and we lost one of my friends that day. And I don't know, there's just something strange about it." And Victor and Reeves kind of nods, and we cut to them at like a small tavern. And it's familiar from one of Victor's like earlier masks. It's eerily familiar. The people here are almost the same. And there's a bartender there, barkeep. And Reeves and Victor are just drinking. And the barkeep goes, well, we were expecting one of you from that time to show up, and the grafter was hoping it would be you, young Armstrong. And what's eerie about that is the bartender isn't speaking through his mouth. He's speaking through a mouth that has appeared on their cheek, a mouth with much too many teeth. And then all around Victor and Reeves, men, women, older people. It gets very Resident Evil here very quickly. Lots of appendages coming out of nowhere, people melding together to create these flesh creatures. There are hints of what kind of combinations were combined with these people. It isn't clear how they were turned back into these human forms after seeing what they become. And it's a big melee until Victor gets knocked out, and we see that scene of through Victor's eyes blurry, just Reeves just going, Victor, Victor, get up, Victor, Victor, get up. And Victor passes out. But then he comes to. He's maybe in a basement somewhere, and we just see Reeves, his arm being held aloft by some sort of shackles because he no longer has the strength to stand. And in one hand is just holding his staff, broken now, still fighting, as he takes down the last of the villagers there, and Victor passes out again. And then finally, the My Mask of the Past narrate a flashback to the first time a family member grieved that could not give you more. Once again, we see ourselves in Victor's mother's office. And Victor's mother goes, Victor, take Reeves. You're going to need him for this. Victor goes, no, mother, I will not take Reeves. I can do this myself. And he just slams the door. And then Reeves looks at Victor, who's outside the door, and just goes, Victor, I'm going to come with you. And then Victor kind of just walks away. Reeves says, Victor. And Reeves looks fine, or like at least recovered at this point. And Reeves just goes, I'll see you in the morning, Victor. The next day, you see Victor come back to the castle, covered in blood, all fine. Walks up, we see him walk up to his mother, goes, it's done. I did it myself. And if you ask around, there's no collateral damage at all. I can do this alone. And she just nods. They walk away. Reeves follows Victor. Reeves grabs Victor's arm and goes, Victor, that was incredibly dangerous. Why would you do that? Victor just turns to him and goes, because I saw you, Reeves. I saw you last night. And then we see in Reeves's room, just a small, comfortable room, is just him with his knees up to his chest, shaking in tears, just looking terribly afraid. Just thinking about what's he gonna face the next day. And then Victor is right outside his door, hearing this whole thing, tears in his eyes also. And we cut back to them and just goes, I can't put you through that again, Reeves. Just stay here. Don't come with me. My missions are too difficult. Just stay here. I don't need you anymore. And I'm sorry. And Reeves just goes, no, Victor. I'm sorry. And they part ways.
Yeah. Damn. Amazing. Ugh. Hopefully, Bob is okay. Hopefully we'll see him back, and then if when he does, I'll stick him in. But I think we can commence and go through start night phase. So the plan is Whitmore and Lord James Campbell-Hughes heading over to Cremorne, and then Victor will be heading over to the Palais de Gaieté. So if that is the plan, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the unseen. Night shift at St. Thomas's. Sitting across the Thames from the Palace of Westminster, St. Thomas's Hospital is London's newest hospital, purpose-built to the most modern standards of medicine. It consists of sprawling wings joined by covered walkways, allowing convalescent patients to take in the air during the day. But at night, a skeleton crew struggle to save their charges from the illness, accidents, and violence that stalk the gloom. One will be Paul. Second prompt, just in case, let's make that Daniel. Third prompt will be Jeremy, and then fourth prompt will be everyone. Okay? So, Paul. A destitute woman is in the throes of a complicated birth, a porter holding her down while a surgeon prepares to operate. How do we know the child will never meet their birth mother?
All around this room, we see everyone in a chaotic position. The people assisting the surgeon are just watching with bated breath. We see the porter holding down the woman who almost looks like she is convulsing. And the only person that's moving around and that is still in this chaos is the surgeon. We see him heave a deep sigh, get up from where he was positioned, gives the aides his instruments, and goes up to the mother, looks down at her, not coldly, but with just a look of acceptance, and goes, I can only save one of you. I'm going to leave that choice to you. And then the scene will cut from there.
I'm going to head over to the Palais de Gaieté first. So, Victor, it's evening time, and the theater's pretty hopping, even with the tragedy that had happened the other night. Show must go on, even as somber as it is. I think in deference to that, in respect, I think they are doing a different show this evening. They're not as joyful like their name. Very little gaiety tonight. It's more of serious, dramatic songs and just thrilling lead-ups into knife throwing. Just things that would normally be reserved for more serious fare, like have been brought upon this evening. But Lily DeVere has given you all from Hargrave House pretty much carte blanche to investigate, of course. And do you skulk? Do you enter the theater differently from everybody else? What do you do? I know I suggested checking out the gods last time, and I don't know if that was still part of your plan.
Checking out the gods?
Yes. A second.
Is that
The precarious set of catwalks and rat lines running above the stage. A
okay.
vertiginous distance below.
Oh, got it. Is that what it's called? The gods?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then yes, I think Victor is crouched low in the shadows above the stage, just looking down at everything, hoping to observe the play from afar from here, get a better eye on what could be working in the shadows.
There's winches, counterweights, stowed scenery festooning the space, while the performers, scurry about on stage like ants. That's how high up you are, or at least that you feel. So this is a paint the scene for you only. Why are you tempted to take one final step from the catwalk? And what do you see that stops you?
I think what Victor sees is this incredibly dramatic play. And then he sees that, wait a second, is that actor dressed like Rosicrucius? No, wait, no, they're not. That's his least popular book, I guess. Did the theater find the darkness in Umber and made a theatrical version of it? God. And Victor just was like, I have to just ruin this. Roz isn't here, but just in spirit, I need to do this. I have to. And he takes a leap to a smaller catwalk. And it's that thing of you try, it's like you go to someone's house and you're like, I don't like the movie they're putting on. Let's watch this sort of thing. But then he gets to the catwalk, it looks a little closer, about to hop in, and then something really dramatic happens. And it's like, all right, I'll give it one more scene. Just one more scene. And then the next one for sure. And it just keeps happening. And at some point, Victor's kind of just like, what? Really? The liberties they took really made this better. And he just like ends up just watching the show.
Fabulous. I'm going to say that as you're watching the show, though, you are fully able to, do some investigation via reason. Or if you figure that you're going to be doing a little bit more, I don't know, parkour up here or something like that to kind of check out some of the more shadowy spaces, then we can call upon your vitality. And there was also a move that you wanted to utilize tonight, correct?
So yeah, I was expecting just to probably just do that move first.
Sure.
It's not really the streets of London at night, but a very small microcosm of London here. The hunt comes to you when you patrol the streets of London at night, making your presence known to the darkness of the city. Roll with sensitivity. On a hit, you are immediately confronted by a threat or a personified danger related to the threat. You may ask them 2 questions from the list below. They will not answer directly, but rather in the form of a clue. On a 10 plus, the threat or danger departs as soon as the questions are answered.
Okay.
So Victor is kind of just jumping around the catwalks and just waiting for something to happen.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go ahead and use that move, what does it say that you're using for it?
Sensitivity.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think yeah, I think I will mark. No, I think I'll save it. I'll just roll with sensitivity.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just save it.
Okay.
Okay. So 2d6. Okay. That is a 5 and a 3. So that's going to be a 10.
Okay. All right. So 10 plus threat or danger departs as soon as the questions are answered. But let's see. Immediately confronted by a threat. So I think as you're moving around here in the catwalks and then the lines are like, running across and above. There is a pattern to this. There is a rhyme and there's a reason to this, but you don't know since you're not associated with the theater. And some of the guidelines are I guess associated with different um, stage backdrops and such as they're hanging up here, and only pulled down like when they're used. I'm gonna say that there was some advanced sabotage here. Maybe one of the counterweights that you move was actually creating this, what do they call it? It's kind of like the mousetrap game, basically. It's like, it sets off something else, which sets off something else, which sets off something else, rolling and pulling and dropping and such. The performers below don't notice anything because, like, they're not dropping onto the stage. They're more like, you can see it. It's kind of like ch-chung, or and then just creating this weird format up above. And I think, or actually, you're going to be asking me, what is it, 2 questions? Yeah. So ask your 2 questions as this is happening, and I will give you some answers. Yeah.
All right. So I think Victor, even though he's not really speaking to anyone, he's looking at these straps, and they say a lot about the person who placed them down. To a certain extent, Victor sees traps as like a form of art that some people are really, really good at, and says what kind of like disposition they have. So I think he kind of looks at the traps and kind of just like asks, almost just to himself. See here. Yeah. What frightens you? And let me see here. And yeah, and just straightforward. Oh, yes. Where is your lair?
I think as you see these things, like, move and shift, and almost looks like it's an elaborate version of trying to move things into place to surround you, I think you will find that it's almost like these blockages or these patterns are maneuvering you to a particular corner that you wouldn't have seen if you hadn't moved. And maybe the catwalk will connect to something else, and then you catch a guy line that moves you into another area. But then you find this dark corner, and there is some kind of reflection from one of the stage lights. Somehow it's like bouncing off of some reflective surface and then actually going into this corner. And you see 2 things. First, you see a glint of something in the reflection, like something that looks like it's been lodged in what's supposed to be a hidden drawer or a hidden section of this corner. And it looks like, when you dig it out, a well-hidden engagement ring. That's one. And then, did we establish, I'm sorry, like, I just have to ask out of character, did we establish that Victor knew the Devirs?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm going to say that the other thing that you find in this hidden recess are etchings in the recess that look like dozens of little sketches of the same person. And it is someone you recognize as Lily's mother. So the clues are a well-hidden engagement ring and dozens of sketches of the same person. On a 10 plus, so the threat danger departs as soon as the questions are answered. Again, it looked like it was hurting you towards someplace, but because you opened up the hidden recess, it's almost as if everything stopped, as if you triggered the failsafe suddenly. So things stop moving up there. And it's eerily silent, and then from below, I think you hear a line that seems to be well placed in silence. And it's something like, "If only he knew what he knew at the time, it would solve every problem, and everything would be solved." A weird little thing in the silence, but it was said. And the stage lights shift, and another scene setting drops, getting ready for the next part of the play. All right, over at the Cremorne Gardens, do you stay together or are you apart?
I think we should stay together, and Lord James Campbell-Hughes would ask Whitmore, it could be me or you, but one of us needs to. He has like some wool and some wax, where one of us needs to seal our ears, so that in case this creature has some kind of siren's call, we don't get one of us can help the other. Um, it could be me or you, it doesn't matter. As long as one of us one of us needs our ears, and then one of us doesn't. But then whoever doesn't have their ears, Whitmore, you'll have to use your other senses, sense of smell, sight. And we have these lanterns because we're looking to see what this creature's up to. So do you want the wax in your ears or not?
I'm very confused as to how wax in one's ears will assist in the dancing.
In the what?
The reason we're here this evening, the dancing.
He's all now, but you see him all dressed up like he's going on a safari, and he's got like all these bags and guns and stuff. He's not going dancing. This guy's like, he's got on like mud boots. I can't dance in these mud boots.
I'm not sure you could dance in dancing shoes, but
That's what you know, hey? Now let's.
I haven't seen you dance. Are you going to prove me wrong?
Whitmore, there is a dark creature, maybe more. Maybe an entire race of them living here in the river that flows through the very heart of London. Now is not a time for gallivanting around the Cremorne Gardens and having a great time like the rest of the folks. We have to find out what this beast wants, and it could be a tribe.
Would it not make more sense to go where the people are to protect the innocents?
I am confused. Whitmore, we're not here for fun. We're here to hunt a beast.
Lord James Campbell-Hughes, the last time we went out and hunted a beast, I distinctly remember you having fun. Do you not think that it's only appropriate that once, in a blue Cremorne Gardens moon, we do something just for us?
I see what's happening here. I am immune to the siren's call somehow, but you are not, and you have fallen victim. I'm afraid this is where I have to punch you in the jaw or slap you around or something.
Before you do that, I'm just going to say that there's a distinct thump thump of like a drum beat that begins. And then the orchestra, well, the band will play and kind of like, give this very flashy intro as a beautiful woman with a fabulous fascinator on her head and a glass of wine in her hand, um, will enter in onto the dancing platform. And it seems like most of the regulars know her, so these like hundreds of people will part and will allow her passage into the center of the platform. And she just raises her glass and says, "Ah, I know all the new dances. The polka, the Portland, the Boston. But the Viennese waltz is how I made my reputation with this set. Have you heard of the tango? South American, very dramatic." And then she will reach behind her and pull out what looks like a rose, and she will put it between her teeth and then jut her chin out to signal to the band to begin to play. And she does a very suggestive dance, coaxing a partner from the crowd to join her, and then they do the very, slinky moves, and um, they have some kind of spotlights or something like going across the floor, and all following them, of course, but then there's other spotlights that kind of go around, and I think like one of them like hits both of you at the moment that maybe you're looking at each other.
Can I X this?
Yeah.
I don't really have any desire to Lord James Campbell-Hughes would not be anywhere near the dance floor.
Okay.
He would not be dressed for it, and
Sure.
it just seems like I have to X that.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I mean, like, if I'm gonna say that yes, there's like Albertina Welk and her partner dancing on the dance floor, but you guys don't have to be on it. That's fine. And then people just like, fall in, and then there's a bunch of people dancing. So where do you investigate, or where do you look around? Are you heading to the docks now? Or
Right.
are
Yeah. The water. Yeah.
Okay.
Wherever the water is.
Sure, no problem. Um,
I mean, Whitmore might have left and gone, and he might have witnessed all that.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't see it.
Okay. All right. So, Whitmore, I'm gonna give you a chance to, if you're over here by the dancing platform, if you're like kind of like observing this, like, are you investigating here in any way?
I think Whitmore would give the dancing platform and the couple doing the tango a wistful, longing look, and probably realize Lord James Campbell-Hughes is correct. And Whitmore would head down to the docks and position himself in a rowboat with the oars, getting ready to push the two of them off into the lake or into the river.
I think as you guys are making your way into the boat, I think Abel Knox will come through the throng and then see you and call out to you, Lord James Campbell-Hughes. Say, my lord, you remember me? It's Abel Knox.
He waves with the lantern um and says come here, Mr. Knox.
Yes. I was hoping that you'd be here, sir. It's like I think I spotted some clues. Like not at this side though. It's like down here, over nearer to the actual walk.
What did you
Where
find?
oh, come and see. I'm gonna ask you to roll information. trying to think of the best way to do this. It could be vitality, like since you're hurrying after him, like, he seems to be like rather agitated, or it could be just like, straight, I want to say research, but that's not the right term. Reason, sorry.
Reason.
Yeah.
I will go with reason. And I don't think I have anything that's going to help. So it's just a straight up +2. Which gives me barely a 7.
I think he'll take you down to the other side of the dock, closer to Chain Walk, and where I think some of the couples were attacked. And I think, let me see, did I already give this to you? Thank goodness. No. Okay, great. So the thing that you spot, or that he shows you, he brings you to what looks like a carriage, of all things. And on the outside of the carriage, it looks fine, except over by the back of the carriage, there is something very odd smeared on the back of it. Like as if some hands, not quite hands, like, were running along the side of it, or like, somebody making their way from down on the ground and up towards the top of the carriage. And what you see is like some kind of unusual substance. So I'm going to say it's like a smelly oil.
I asked Knox why he thinks this came from the creature.
This is nothing we use by the boat, sir. This is not natural.
It's very odd. I'll give it that.
Absolutely. I thought you might want to see it. It's a sign of the of the creature skulking about.
You've got a keen eye, sir. A keen eye indeed.
And smell. Oh, gods.
And with that, Whitmore, you're still in the boat, I guess?
Waiting for Lord James Campbell-Hughes to get back.
Please roll me a night move.
Okay.
You notice that there's no one about for some reason as you're just sitting there in the dinghy. And there's like a smell, a sudden, very fishy smell that comes in through, blowing not from the river, but not from land either. What'd you roll? Oh,
What
sorry.
statistic am I using?
Yeah. Sorry. Sensitivity, please.
Oh, good. 2. Period. It's snake eyes.
Oh my God. Well, okay. So, all right. Shit, I forgot to do my usual thing. So, what could go wrong? Yeah. All right. Let's just put it out there. So, I think as you are waiting there in the dinghy, complete silence, no one's about for some reason, even though this is the docks, and you smell that very strong smell in your nostrils. It's so strong that it makes you want to retch. And I think you hear a on the side of the boat, like behind you. And I think you see something, a shadowy something, oily looking, kind of shiny scales coming up from the water. You hear the drips, but they're not natural water drips. It's almost as if water has turned viscous and sticky. And this thing has rather sharp-looking claws. And you'll see like a pair of very bulbous yellow eyes before you know no more, Whitmore. Or you can wear a mask.
I'm not sure that I follow the meaning of no more.
basically the creature will definitely claw at you and eviscerate you.
Hmm. Hmm. The real question, though, is, yeah, we'll put on a mask of the past.
You were worrying me there for a minute. What? Oh no. Okay.
It was the debate of does eviscerate mean death or fun narrative moments?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the creature would be checking out your entrails.
They're nice entrails. They're real nice.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm glad you moved up to a 7 to 9. Okay. So I think with the 7 to 9, I think you will still hear the brain. You will still hear the slaps, the wet slaps behind you. But I think if Doc is around, like, there may be a chance to save you. Yeah. Doc, would you be near the docks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hunting the creature very animalistically, instinctually. So I think that it being by the docks, by the water, where we've seen the creature come out, makes sense.
Yep. And then, like, I think, yeah, even though you're further away from Whitmore than like probably Lord James, I think you smell, even from far away, you smell that very strong scent.
Hmm.
And it's almost like you can tell where it's wafting from, and then maybe with your night sight, maybe sharper night sight, maybe you can see like what is coming up behind Whitmore in the dinghy.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think that at least part of what I'd be doing anyway to try to find the creature is like very much a sniff, like sniffing the air.
mhm.
So the scent would probably hit quick. And yeah, I would if I'm able to get there and I see something sneaking up behind Whitmore, I am going to try to pounce on its back and like tackle it, knock it off its feet.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's coming up from the water. So I think like Whitmore had kind of like, pushed off slightly. So, I mean, like, again, still floating in the water, but like near the shoreline.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, you can totally, like,
I
let's
think
go ahead
tackle
and,
it back into the water then, which
yeah.
is a risky proposition, but it seems only right. If I'm going to swoop in and save the day, it shouldn't be like I punch it in the jaw and then it falls down and we've won. Like I'm going to dive and try to tackle it
Oh,
and
this is definitely vitality with advantage considering your high quickening roll from
Mhm.
from last time. So, yes, go ahead and make that night move, excuse me. Night move with vitality taken with advantage. Okay?
Okay, so 3d6 and then gotta remind myself my own vitality score. There we are. And I think what I'm worried about more than just like I think probably even more than say not being able to stop it from getting at Whitmore
Mhm.
is it going down into the water with it without getting it on its back feet. Like if it's not a good hit and I'm not knocking it off its feet and like kind of stunning it while I'm going into the water, I'm going to be underneath a water monster in the water. I can't breathe underwater, and that seems like a very deadly situation.
And I didn't realize you still had drained as one of your conditions. So
Oh yeah.
that advantage pretty much cancels that out. So just roll straight
Okay.
with vitality, please.
Dang, that is a 6.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah. 4, 1 plus 1.
Oh my God. Wait. Okay. Alrighty. Um, 6. And I forgot again to ask for like what could go wrong. Well, you tell me. You're aiming to try and tackle the creature off of the boat to save Whitmore. But
Hmm.
what happens instead? Hmm. I'm gonna say that as you're like, doing the leap, I mean, you're going faster than you ever thought you could, or maybe you did know. And you're like looking at Whitmore and the creature with very strange eyes. Like your vision is strange, maybe
Mhm.
more focused, maybe looking a little bit blurred at the edges. But you can hone in on the creature because of that scent that's like stuck in your face. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna say that because of that and because of your condition, maybe you misjudge how you are tackling the creature. I'm gonna say that you overreach, you bump the boat, it capsizes, and Whitmore's in the water, and you don't have hold of the creature. That's your
Can I
six.
can I use a mask to slightly improve that?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I'm gonna hit a mask of the past, which now brings my total masks up to 3.
Whitmore, you're using a mask of the past as well.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I added on to your total, Doc. You already have still your other masks to
Oh,
do.
good.
Okay, so tell me how this improves with a 7 to 9.
I want to say I am able to knock the creature off the boat, but now I'm
Okay.
locked in a like wrestling match
Mhm,
underwater with a
mhm.
creature that can breathe underwater.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I think it's kind of keeping you down,
Mhm.
sensing that you're not amphibious. Um,
Um,
Lord James Campbell-Hughes, I think you hear the ruckus um here. And so,
um, since Whitmore's in the water,
yeah.
Whitmore's going to take 2 deep breaths. In between one of those deep breaths, yell out for Lord James Campbell-Hughes. With the second breath, Whitmore's going to try and dive underwater to help Doc. And if possible, can I take the exploding pocket watch and try and detonate it underwater, not to kill the creature, but to make enough of a noise, of a distraction underwater that both Whitmore and Doc get out or can get away.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is a serious. Yeah, that is a serious night move there.
Yeah,
That's kind of dangerous. Sure. All right, let me do this correctly this time. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
I think that Whitmore both will end up dropping the pocket watch, losing it, and also be locked in like a mismatched 2v1 underwater wrestling match where the creature has advantage because the creature's just there in the water, its habitat.
Yes, and I'm gonna say the way it's worse is that, well, we didn't quite see other parts of the creatures, so we don't really know. I mean, it doesn't have to be limited to just 2 arms and hands. Perhaps maybe not only does it knock out the watch as you're trying to do this quickly, but I think it also draws you in to mess up Doc from really engaging with it properly underwater where it has advantage, and I think it will take a chomp out of you both. You know? Could be fun. All right. So to cliffhang this scene, give me a roll on the night move to do this. With composure, because you got to keep your cool on this. Um, yeah.
Sounds
And
good. We're going to switch over to the funky die roller because I do not trust my dice right now.
and you have no conditions, so since you're using the exploding pocket watch, which I assume is your personal quarters, you can take
Yes.
that with advantage. Advantage with composure, please.
That is going to be a 12.
Nice, nice, nice. So night move, exploding pocket watch. I will have you finish that off in half a mo. We're gonna go to the second unseen. Daniel, would you mind if I flipped it back to Bob? Because I wasn't sure whether Bob was going to be back for the second unseen
Oh,
part.
that's fine. Go right ahead.
Okay, thanks.
If Bob's ready, yeah.
Well, let's see. So, in the casualty waiting room, the experienced ward sister Mary O'Brien triages the sick and wounded. Who does she see, and will they live or die? This is the skeleton crew working at St. Thomas's Hospital at night.
I
Who does she see?
think that, let's see, convalescent patients. I think there's like a half dozen people, really ranging from like all of the standard metrics, like some young people, some older people. There's like a mom with two kids, um, and as much of a income spread as St. Thomas's has, I think is represented here in a fairly packed waiting room. And I think like everyone has a really wet cough, like pneumonia kind of a thing. Um, Many people are holding like handkerchiefs in front of their mouths as they cough. And as she's like checking people in and moving them from place to place, waiting for beds to open, um, I want to say, just because it feels like it has gravitas, half of them will live throughout, like over the next 48 hours. Let's say half of them will survive and be able to leave the hospital. The other half will not make it.
So, Whitmore, tell me, with your 12, how you succeed in this action to help Doc.
So as Whitmore calls for help and dives under the water, a pocket watch on a very short chain gets pulled out, and Whitmore realizes he wish he had more chain, but doesn't. And so takes the pocket watch and twists the knob very quickly before trying to get caught. And the arms of the creature let go of Doc as Whitmore comes close and gets snatched up. But Whitmore, ready, calmly kicks off the creature's chest, leaving the pocket watch in the creature's hand. The pocket watch detonates underwater, almost deafening both Doc and Whitmore, and driving the creature down. The two of us, I would imagine, slowly swim to the surface, just a little bit shell-shocked, possibly water in the lungs from having to expel out air as the shockwave hit us. And Whitmore would come up with this wet, disgusting cough as a piece of like seaweed or river weed just kind of falls out of his mouth. And Whitmore would clamber up onto the docks in a pink shirt that's been river stained.
I don't think that either one of you are getting away from having ringing ears from that explosion, even underwater, just so you know, okay?
Yeah.
Doc, I don't know if you try to tag on to the creature even as the explosion happens. I think you see it. Whitmore's already trying to get away, but I think you see it as the explosion happens, and then the creature is as he said, driven down, and kind of gives you the bulbous yellow-eyed look of, how dare you? That's kind of what you can make out looking underwater, and will dive itself, after being blasted and shocked by the watch. What do you do?
I think I focus on getting back to shore with Whitmore, getting out of the water. It seems too dangerous.
Lord James Campbell-Hughes, I think you hear the explosion, although it sounds like a big watery thud, because since it was underwater and you know, it like sounds more like an implosion, like something big got turned over, basically. And you hear before that you hear Whitmore cry out for you. What do you do?
I grab this Knox and I'm like, there's trouble back at the docks, and so him and I are running back.
Is everything all right, sir? It's like there might be like something about the creature back over at that carriage.
Sounds like the creature's down by the water. Let's go. Maybe it was going this way to that way.
Got it.
And he snatches up something. You're busy running, so I mean, like, you know, whatever you've got on you, then I think as you come upon the water, I think you see the, like, you know, the big disturbance. The dinghy that Whitmore was on is totally capsized and like starting to float away. And then I think you will see their heads, Whitmore and Doc's, bob up, one after the other, and then like try to make their way to the shore.
We run to help them get out.
Do you say anything to Lord James Campbell-Hughes, Whitmore, or yell at him
Yeah.
because you can't hear?
Whitmore would think he's saying this under his breath, but
Mhm.
because he has no recollection of how loud it actually is, it would be
Mhm.
said in like a normal speaking voice, like clearly enunciated. Whitmore would, taking Lord James Campbell-Hughes's hand, just be a mutter that comes out loud and clear. This is why we should have gone dancing and not hunting.
My man here, he should have plugged his ears, Knox.
Meanwhile, Doc's going, thanks for that one, old boy. It's getting pretty dangerous. And like does a pinky in the ear. I'm not sure I can hear.
You sound just fine, Doc. Normal speaking voice, it's all good.
Big thumbs up. All right.
Victor. So where do you go after you find these things up in the gods?
I think what Victor will do is he assumes that the that this person they're facing is obviously a theatrical sort based on the whole noose thing that Whitmore described to him the night before. He will wait until the play is over. Maybe it's kind of just like a short one. Maybe they're trying to get ready for like the there's like a break before like the next showing, or maybe a little bit later. But Victor sees that the stage is empty, and we'll take a deep breath, and it is eerily quiet, very different from the applauses and the bows that he heard very recently. It's just calm now in this moment. And he steps to the center of the stage. And his goal here is to just entreat this Wraith to show up. So he will not make a mockery of the stage. He's not gonna like shit on it or anything, but like just be on here and not be one of the performers that the Wraith loves to see here. In the hope that he will just be like shooed away is the goal here. So he will go up to the stage and he doesn't really know what to perform here. So Victor will just take out the Shoreditch Slugger poem that he got from that mystery, and he will read it out loud and just go, love comes quietly. Poems are so weird. Finally drops about me on me, okay, in the old ways, period. What did I know, thinking myself able to go alone all the way? And kind of like looks around, his voice echoing in the stage, seeing if he can get this creature to show up, or a person.
Night move.
Mm-hmm.
You are daring to um, you are daring to be on its turf,
Yes.
basically. Let's
Mhm.
call it that. And yeah, what do you think will go wrong for if you fail or lose your nerve?
This Wraith doesn't. It's not like a huge, powerful creature. I think the Wraith will show up with a hostage that Victor will care about, I think. What he fears. Or like what could go wrong.
I think you're going to hear, if it goes wrong, I think you're going to hear a mocking tone from the gods or near there. Or maybe even all around you because of like, the echoing or
Yeah.
the stagecraft. And it's going to say something like, "Oh, hunter, my hunter, you seek your prey, but really, you have no idea who you're dealing with. Does love never die? Does your love die?" And this is where you will see Radamintha somehow strung up in a different like pulley setup, so she cannot get free, and so one drop and then she's done for if it goes wrong. So roll with composure.
We'll use that one in a bit. All right. I will use a shortage slugger poem for advantage.
Yep.
That is a 9.
Okay. All right, so with a 9, I think the Wraith, well, what looks like someone with a mask of a sort. It is strange because this particular mask that they wear has the aspect of the sun and the moon, as well as the sock and the buskin. So it's a two-faced mask. And yeah, you'll hear, even though you see this figure kind of doing like a weird Spider-Man move, like it's kind of like holding on with one arm to like a pulley or something like that. You know that this is like some sort of like, stage trick or something like that. And it looks like it's just hanging up in midair, and it's just mocking you with words. And will say, "Your audition was poor. Was that to get my constructive criticism? Some feedback for your part in a play?"
Victor will say, "No. I'd rather not be here right now, but Everyone else was at the other place, and someone had to come here. You are but a nuisance to Hargrave House, and the hope was to deal with it as soon as possible. You are no monster, you're but a man.
I am a man with a monstrous heart. As to me, love never dies. Does your love die? And this is where he will bring up his other hand and do a gesture as if he's flicking something. But then you see, like on a panel that has opened up to the side, you see that there's someone there. You see someone's like kind of like tied up and gagged, but you can't quite tell who it is. They're kind of like in like sheeting, like curtain, like wrapped up in a curtain, but then like kind of like baby bunting is basically how they're wrapped. So, and they're just kind of calling out to you, but you can't make out who or who it is because they're muffled with the gag. Yeah. Chase me, or save them. Your choice. This is where he's going to pull on the thing that's above his head, but then also yank an invisible line, and this person pops out and flies towards you as he gets drawn up, or they get drawn up into the rafters, into the gods. I think you can catch them, but you will not be able to chase after the Wraith with this person in your arms.
There's no way for me to know who this person is.
No, you're gonna have to take off the gag, and you're gonna have to, like, undo the curtain sheeting.
I think the more between thing to do here is to coldly ignore the person, not even look at them, and just go after the Wraith.
Okay, fair enough. Jeremy. The young nurse, Agnes Pell, walks the TB ward, silent but for the labored breathing and hacking coughs of her charges. Who do we see among the gaunt, pale patients that shows death respects neither age nor rank?
Amongst several dozen beds in this ward, about half of them are full. We see a man struggling to write. Anyone who would look over his shoulder would see that this is the famed author, Jonathan Vermilion. He's written countless books, and yet he still coughs, blood occasionally splattering the page. Across from him, we see a young woman, perhaps in her 20s, clothing disheveled. She sits with a small child in her lap, and both of them struggle to breathe, but the woman sits trying to read the child a bedtime story. Agnes isn't sure of the three of them if any will live to see this morning. But between the powerful storyteller, the wise story reader, and the meek child, she has a feeling that the child will at least survive, embraced in the woman's arms.
So all three of you are at the at the dock. Doc and Whitmore soaking wet and yelling because the ringing in their ears is so loud. And Lord James, you're, helping them up
and then Abel Knox is there, you know, to help you out as well. What do you three do?
Lord James Campbell-Hughes wants to know, did they see it and was it real and what did it look like? All those kinds of questions. And they're probably struggling to hear him, so he's saying it louder. Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I think so. It was all kind of a blur. Whitmore, what did you see?
Long, scaly claws. It had neon yellow eyes.
I did see the
And
eyes.
they seemed to glow almost like that newfangled uranium glass.
Not unlike a crocodile.
No, unlike a crocodile. More like an alligator.
All right, I'll take your word for it. That's a
And
lot of
just the
info.
two of us yelling
Yeah,
about
back
what
and
we
forth.
think we saw, both being both counteracting each other.
Lord James, do you think that you are scouring the shoreline, or, like, you know, seeing that they're okay reasonably, you know, investigating the nearby waters?
I think he's he's making sure they're okay and helping them get their gear and if Abel Knox can grab the dinghy, that's fine. If he can't, then we'll just have to let it go. But he is shining the light and watching to make sure that this thing didn't come back.
There is no strong smell aside from the Thames, of course. There is no disturbances in the water, at least as far as you can see. However, it's like, you know, if you want to make an information move here with reason, I can totally accommodate that for sure.
Yeah, let's see what we get.
Mm-hmm.
A 9 plus 2. 11. Got an 11.
Okay. All right, great. Along the shoreline, especially around where Whitmore and Doc had clambered up onto the shore. Among the rocks, you see something a little strange. It looks like a book. This book, as waterlogged as it seems, I mean, it doesn't seem to be in any kind of like poor condition. Like, it's not like the parchment or the paper it's made of is going to be easily torn. You'd swear it was almost treated like an oilskin or something like that, to still allow for people to read it even though it's damp or wet. And you turn it over, and the cover again is not made of something that, it gets wet, but I mean, it's not something that will hold on to the moisture. And it looks like, when you flip through it, like it's a book of sailors' hymns. Some sea shanties, some words, also mixed in with what looks like symbols and gibberish that don't look like they are making any sense of any languages that you've seen, any written languages that you've seen before.
We need to get this back to Hargrave House. We need to get you fellas into dry clothes.
Are you two still debating, like, you know, what you saw, or like, did you hear what he said?
I think we heard what he said.
Okay.
Whitmore is too attentive to miss that. I have to imagine.
Lord James Campbell's mouth just moves, and Whitmore's eyes jump to start lip reading, if not being able to hear him.
I think Abel will look upon that and say, "That's really odd, sir. It's nothing like we've seen written down before. We just usually pass down songs from person to person. Why would we need to write it down?" And so I think he will make a strange little salute to you, Lord James, and say, "I'll be looking out for some more stuff. I can only hope you be stopping by again, sir. Or maybe if it's all right, if I find anything, I can stop at a Hargrave house to tell you about it. Yeah."
Yeah, I gave you my calling card, but listen, apparently this creature is dangerous. So don't go too close to the water.
After seeing your men, I don't think I want to, sir. But I'll let you know if I spot them. And he'll again make his little salute, and then he'll shove off to um, the docks. Victor, you are in chase. Last you saw, he got pulleyed up into the gods after literally catapulting that person towards you to try and distract you, I guess, from chasing them. But I think if you are doing your parkour thing, let me see. I think you see the shadows disappear up into the rafters of the Palais de Gaieté. And if you try to make your way up towards it, I think you will find somehow it's almost like, whatever pulley system they used, excuse me, had ended up bringing like a netting of guy lines and I don't know what they use up in the gods, but almost like kind of using some loose catwalks or ladders to kind of block the way a little bit. So I don't know whether you want to try and do a little bit more investigating, like up here, leading to wherever they went, if you're on the hunt.
Yeah, I think at this point, Victor thinks that his best chance of getting the most information is just to try to follow the Wraith. He may not catch them at the end. He is in their lair.
Yeah.
But at the very least wants to get, for as long as possible, eyes on them to see if he can like see anything or be led anywhere of use to Hargrave House.
I'm gonna ask you to, let's see, hold on. So again, it's like whatever system they use to draw up and try to confuse the issue. They know this place intimately, and
Yes.
it looks like they've set up numerous snares. So
Yeah.
distractions, like places to block you or to possibly get a hold of you if you step the wrong way. What do you see here that demonstrates the Wraith's obsession? That's a paint the scene for you.
As much as the traps are elaborate and almost violent when they are activated, if you look closely, none of the traps really. He does a very good job not damaging any of the infrastructure of the theater itself. Like if they get set off, the only things that will get hurt are the things they are intended to hurt. But none of like the stage things that they need for the play, none of the lighting will be affected by anything.
Right. He's worked it out. They've worked it out to draw you in
Mm-hmm.
and ensnare you where you are. So it'll make it difficult for you to give further chase, or it will prevent you from going down the same way that you came up.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like a living space here. It's almost like there's a makeshift but very structured maze up here. So the gods truly reach into the heavens. From looking outside, you wouldn't have suspected that this is how far up the theater goes. But what do you want to do here? Do you want to give further chase, or do you want to try and get more clues?
At this point, I think it'll probably just be clues at this point. Now that he's led him into a different part of the theater, one that Victor wouldn't have known to access.
Right.
Victor knows that it is time to end the hunt just yet. He got what he needed from them, just to be led somewhere. So now Victor is going to start looking around, because this is true lair of this creature up here.
All right, so I'll leave it up to you. Because of the way this is configured, you can either use composure to make sure you don't make a misstep around the traps, or vitality if you are like nimbly getting through some of this ensnarement. I'll leave it up to you. What do you think is most appropriate? It's an interesting network. It's very intricate.
Yeah, I think earlier it'll probably have been composure just to get through, but at this point it's just Victor just needs to get into the deeper places of it.
Mhm.
And traps doesn't really bother Victor. It's just about execution.
Yeah.
Executing brilliantly. That's more of a physical thing for him. And for this, I will, just because he knows that it will bother the Wraith, he'll be using hatchets to like stick onto walls, get better purchases, just to avoid all these traps.
Right.
As he looks around.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just take advantage for my hatchets as he looks around.
Sure.
The vitality. That's gonna be at 11.
Nice. All right. As you make your way closer and, do your hatchets to make your mark upon the Wraith's lair, I think it's unintelligible grumbling coming from all around you. Again, the sound system, whatever, piping is around this particular part of the theater, is very good. So you can't tell where it's coming from, and you can't tell what they're saying. But I think the Wraith shows their displeasure by, when you move around and have your hatchets, like, maybe your left hatchet, like, sinks into a particular part of the rafter, and then next to you, just as you're about to use your hatchet to, put it into another balancing point, I think you will find a knife whistling past your face into the wall, and you'll hear the murmurs around you sound barely temperate. Like there's an underlying note of rage, of how dare you invade my home. know that this is merely the beginning. If you continue to chase after me. And the knife has thudded next to you, close to your face. It looks like it has something strange, actually. It's not a usual knife that you'd find. At least that you would find. This might be the first time that you've seen something like this. And if it isn't, it's like, I get it. But you see a lock of hair tied to the hilt of the knife, wound around it with ribbon.
I think Victor will. Is the knife still there where it was stabbed?
Yeah.
Victor will pull the knife out. He will see the hair on it. We'll go. This chase we've been doing has not been enough to really make me feel the thrill of the hunt. Right now, you're just wasting my time, and he'll start like just hacking at different pieces of wood, like foundational things that they're standing on, and a few traps here and there. He will go. The Winchesters, they're not the strongest of the great families, but they're master trap makers. But the kind of people that kind of just stands in one place, lets the monster come to them, and just watches everything else do the work for them. They're annoying. They have like a little shit-eating grin when they do it. But it's impressive. I've worked with them in the past, so I can kind of see how this is all built. It's very impressive. Work of art, really. But because of how much time you've taken away from me, away from the real threats Hargrave House is facing, you're but a lovesick fool that is wasting our time. I'm going to enjoy killing you, Wraith. Because at this point in time, I fucking hate the theater. And he will just hit one more piece of wood, and the floor will just fall beneath him, and he'll just fall through it.
If you weren't gonna do it, I was gonna I was gonna cause a trap. For sure. Oh, let's see how this looks. Night move, please.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think will go wrong? I mean, pretty obvious what could go
Oh,
wrong.
I mean, yeah, Victor underestimates how good of a trap person this guy is.
Yeah.
And will hurt himself on the way down.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a very good chance that there's a part of the trap that you don't see, smashing through it and like just letting yourself drop. You think you're going to drop to the ground fairly safely, or like there'll be things to break your fall. Break is the operative word. Let's just say that there's going to be something that you bang into that may cause a breakage. Yeah. Yeah. So roll with vitality, please.
I will. Just roll this one straight. I have to put a mask on. It's fine.
Okay.
That's gonna be an 8.
Yeah, so I think you smash through, and I think there is part of the trap, like, but it's not like fatal, or it's not like, severely injuring. What it's going to do is when you smash down, I think it creates like some sort of shifting slide, and then catapult you out of the theater. But not onto the ground. It'll be like, it'll catapult you from like the second or third story.
Mhm.
So if you think you get away with being bruised and battered from being thrown out, essentially, like, unceremoniously, yeah, we can call that as your condition. You're
Mhm.
you're bruised and battered.
Yeah, I think I'll take that condition,
Mhm.
and as Victor gets flung out onto the streets, I think he like falls into a puddle at some point, right?
Yeah.
And he'll pick up Fatal and Deadly, kind of just like try to brush himself off, brush the mud off, and it's just fitting because I didn't want to experience this experience to really feel good for Victor at the end. And he just goes, I should have fucking went to Claymore Gardens.
And I think you also hear, from behind you, Victor, is that you? And then we're going to cut over to the last unseen. Paint the scene. As dawn begins to break, how do we see the staff dealing with the stress of the night before, knowing they will be back again soon? And this is for everyone.
We'd see doctors and nurses just sort of laying about talking, not like actually laying down, like sitting, leaning against walls. And to the trained eye, we'd see hundreds of vulnerable scenes happening spread throughout the hospital. Doctors talking to each other, nurses, family members of those who died.
You see a young orderly. He's been working. He's been working all night carrying people. He's got on a white coat that's splattered in blood and other fluids. But underneath, we see he has on a pink shirt underneath his lab coat, and he's just digging in his pockets looking for like a cigarette or something as he leans against the wall to catch his breath.
I'm imagining a pair of what look like orderlies um, by the river, and they each have a glass bottle of some sort of soda-like concoction, um, which underlines the fact that these are a lot younger than you would imagine. Like these are, essentially kids having to work in a job that kind of outpaces what normally kids should be expected to do. But we see them just kind of like laughing and making jokes and drinking their little glass bottles of soda before they finish up and like just pitch those glass bottles straight into the river and go walking home as if they're getting back late from school.
I think we see this young woman just being already gone through all the stress of the night before. I think she's like training to be one of the physicians, and she's being just like dressed down by her instructor, her like preceptor. And it's kind of just like, at first we hear the preceptor talking to her, just being like, you could have been more timely, you could have done this, you could have done that. And all she can think about is the people she saw like die that night, and she's being dressed down like this. Really, just to deal with the stress, she'll speak up and just go, I quit. No, I'm not gonna come back. I hate this place. I should have never come here. And the orderly goes, you're not gonna quit. And she just walks away. I mean, not the orderly, but like the instructor says that, and she just walks away.
What are you three doing after Abel leaves you to it? Are you heading back? Are you heading back to
I was thinking that's what Lord James Campbell-Hughes wants to do, but but I don't want, I mean, Doc, you know, I don't know how much this rattled Doc or if he's wanting to go back into the water. I don't know. But I want to
Doc
get,
doesn't love getting wet. I think he'd be happy to make his way back to Hargrave House.
in that case, we'd get a carriage and try to head back.
Yeah. Whitmore would be good to head back to. When we get to Hargrave House, Whitmore would simply apologize to Lord James Campbell-Hughes for misreading the situation this evening. Clearly, you had more important things on your mind than frivolities.
I think he probably he's about to say something, maybe something stern, but instead he says, "Lower your voice and go change. Go get out of your cold clothes."
Whitmore's not going to change. Whitmore's going to head to one of Victor's training rooms and fight a and beat up a punching bag until his knuckles bleed, as penance for putting the lives of everyone else at risk for his own selfish reasons.
Doc, what do you do back at the house?
That is a good question. I don't think this is like a earth-shaking blow to Doc, but at the same time, you know what we haven't seen in a while. I think that Doc spends the rest of the evening grooming Calliope.
I think she snuffles your hair. Like, kind of like, are you okay? And do you have any treats for me? Kind of way.
And I give her an apple.
But she'll kind of like bare her teeth in that way that horses do when they kind of sniff something that seems odd to them. And she might whinny a little bit, like with worry
Yeah.
or fear. You don't smell quite like you used to, Doc.
Mm. Yeah. I don't think that nights like this are totally alien to Doc. I think that there are times, even going as far back as when Doc was out west, where I don't know that Doc had Calliope out west. I think we established that he brought her from the States, but yeah, I think he knows that, and maybe I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting worse, but I think that Doc has a sense of like exactly how much space the horse needs, and so like is maybe like breaks the apple in half and sets one half for her, and then goes and like sits in the corner of her horse pen, like leans up into the corner and eats the other half of the apple.
Very cool. And then Victor, yeah, you hear the voice asking if that's you from behind you. When you turn around, it's one of the reporters from 3 Mills.
Yes. Oh, hey.
Hi. You, if you don't mind my saying, you look terrible. Are you okay?
No, just came from the theater. It's a bad night out, I would say. Bad day at work, I guess.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do you let me offer you this to dry off? It's a very small handkerchief she's offering you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'd invite you to some tea if you thought it would help. I had actually come from the circus, the Cirque National. We're reporting on all the different sites that they have there. There was like a new exhibit that they were talking about They haven't revealed it yet, but they're just giving the hype for right now. So the what is it? The ringmaster, Manisha, has promised us a scoop. Once she has secured the latest part of her exhibit. You might want to check it out. It seems like something that could be really weird and strange. And she pulls out from her pocket like a folded flyer. And when you unfold the flyer, it is literally a reasonable illustrated facsimile of Harsh in his beetle form.
Oof, that's not good. Yeah,
Supposedly it's human sized.
it's a man. It's a dude. It's a guy.
Is it a costume? Is it a
No.
fair trick?
If you look closely at it, you can see a human abdomen sticking out of some of the carapace.
Is this magic? Is this some kind of... I don't want to say it. I mean... Oh, goodness. Do you know this person?
Oh yes, we have. I've met them. I was hoping it was gonna be kind of a straightforward thing, but you're right. My
She
reporter friend, something weird is happening.
she said she was going to secure the exhibit tomorrow.
Oof. Well, hopefully we'll have that resolved by then. But if not, I guess we have bigger matters we have to address.
Well, if you need to go back home, then um maybe tea another time, but
Hmm.
it was good seeing you.
Hmm.
I hope I haven't given you too much bad news.
No, it's fine. You all do a good job keeping us updated.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
uh, just want to let you know if I forget you if your friend wants to take someone out to a good show, surprisingly the play they put on is a is a good one. If you want to go to a play, just be careful. At times nooses do come down from the ceiling and attempt to strangle people, but honestly the play is worth it, especially the third act. Big twist.
Is that part of the show?
No, murderer. Real
I
crazy murderer guy.
don't think Edwin wants to take his fiancée there. He
All
finally
right.
asked her.
Oh, actually, some good news I needed. That makes me feel better.
He finally did it. Yep.
Oh, she said yes, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, that makes me feel better. Good to know.
I'll let him know, and
Yeah.
I'll let him know about the theater. Are you sure?
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm gonna go now, but take care, Victor.
Yes. Yeah, I have to clean up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll hand you another handkerchief.
Thank you.
And that is night phase. So let's go over to the hunters. All right. Nope. Dawn phase, sorry. All right. Was the threat resolved? No. Answer dawn questions.
Did the hunters answer a question? Yes, from last time. Did the hunters resolve a threat? No. Did you experience an echo in the night, Doc? I believe so. I thought I heard at least one.
I actually don't think I did. Was there an echo in the night that I stumbled into? And I
I
missed
thought you
Paul's.
did. Um,
I I dove to protect Whitmore. I got wet. I
can only save one of you is how Paul ended his unseen, which I mean that stuck out to me. Um,
huh. Yeah, I guess I didn't. That could line up with kind
yeah, I
of
was
putting
thinking
myself
so.
at risk. If you think that lines up, that was totally unintentional because I didn't. I think that Paul, I was still getting my computer booted back up.
Yeah. But
Uh,
that still works.
yeah, I'll take it.
And
And I
then
already have marked the
yeah,
standing out in London and
nice.
yeah.
And treasured memory from the States. Okay, great. So to take those points, add them to your XP track, clear dawn questions to be ready for next time, and then again, if you want to change your dawn questions, go for it. The
So
elective ones. Yep.
I have an important question now.
Yeah.
I only have one more thing on my advancements.
Y'all.
Unmark everything in your personal quarters. After that, I don't track XP, right? Because I can't get any more advancements.
Correct.
Okay. The other question I have is, do I have to unmark everything in my personal quarters right now?
No, you
Okay.
can wait. Yeah.
Okay. I won't wait too long, but just the option. I'll think on it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Lord James answered a question, did not resolve a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
The pink shirt, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That seems to be the running theme for this evening. Did you have a face-to-face encounter with the mastermind?
No.
Not last time, I don't think. No. Did you deliver a chilling, dead-eyed monologue about the horrors of the world?
I did with Mr. Knox last time, and I don't know if I
Yes.
did this time with Whitmore or not, but I definitely did
One,
with Knox.
so long as you did it within the cycle, I'm cool. Yeah, that's fine. Take those points, add them to your XP track, and then clear your dawn questions and change the elective ones if you so choose. Whitmore answered a question, did not resolve a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night? The pink shirt thing, the pink, you know.
I
And
was
then
actually, yeah,
wet cough. I heard the wet cough
yeah.
one. Yeah. Did you engage in a petty reprisal of someone who angered your employer?
I at least attempted to.
With
Myself of accidentally pissing off Lord James Campbell-Hughes, ruining his plan of going on a hunt together against the creature, ruining that plan, and then punching my own fists to the point that they bleed.
oof.
I believe that is petty enough.
I'll take it. That's fine. Did you demonstrate obsequious behavior toward your employer? Yes, you did. Take those points, add them to your XP track, and then change your elective dawn questions. And Victor answered a question, did not resolve a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night?
The only one I can think of is um Victor being like hated here, and the trainee also being like, I hate it here. I'm not gonna try not to be back here.
I'll take that. Yep. Did you tell someone why their plans were poorly made?
I said that the Wraith's plans were poorly made because I will kill them because they are bothering us right now. We have actual monsters to hunt out here.
Okay. Take it. And then did you revel in the thrill of the hunt?
Not this time. He actually hated the hunt this time. It was just like annoying chase. There was no fighting. Someone running away. Someone who thought they could like make Victor flinch by endangering someone. Classic mistake against the Armstrongs. Like, we don't care.
Oh, so terrible. Okay, so take
Mhm.
those points, add them to your XP track, and then change your dawn questions if you want. Okay. Let's see. Playbook or custom moves. So, any advantage from previous dusk ends. You still owe me a clue that you found that no other hunter can find because you routed it out with your, you know, supernatural senses and such. Just pick the threat that you want to apply a clue to.
Hmm.
So you got West End Wraith, which has 4 clues on a 6 complexity. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. 4 clues on a 6 complexity. You have the beetle, which again just got touched last time with one clue, I believe. Yep. And then Creature Cremorne Gardens has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clues on a 4 complexity. So yes, just make your decision and then let us know what that clue is in that particular threat column.
Gotcha.
Don't forget to do it. Factotum, memory is the servant.
There weren't too many like items that we really interacted with in Cremorne Gardens. Just thinking about items we might have Whitmore might have interacted with.
Stuff from the boat, stuff from the shore. Hell, even stuff floating in the Thames. What
You know what?
else?
Let's go with a boat orb.
Okay.
And I'd like to give that to Doc as a thank you for fishing me out. So Doc, a boat oar can be added to your personal quarters to be used as you see fit.
Thank you very much. I will add that after I'm done adding this clue to the beetle, which is that the animals in the zoological gardens of London are singing strange songs to each other at night.
Holy crap. Okay, cool. Nice. Oh, what was the clue? It looks like you overwrote the clue that I put in there.
Oh no.
Hold on, let me see. What was
Did
it?
it should be below. Yeah, it's below.
Okay. There we go.
I had scrolled up to be able to not misspell zoological.
Oh, got it. Okay. Alrighty, cool. All right. And you did have a custom move that needed to be resolved, did you?
Yeah, because I have the I got an echo in the night for the upcoming day phase. I'll have advantage on what's the name of it? Presence rolls.
Okay. Better start talking to more people. All right. Great. All right. Any Janus mask prompts that remain unresolved? So I have a mask from the past from Whitmore, and then of course, Doc, you have so many. All right.
Yeah, you want me to knock out the comedy and tragedy?
Whatever you want to get done right now, you can reserve the other ones for, you know, or like the mask of the past that you incurred this session into next session if you.
Yeah, I want to put more thought into that one. That's a really good prompt. I'm going to be telling a memory of when I finally went west that describes me finally feeling free and happy.
Okay.
So I really want to think about that. But
yeah,
for past and tragedy, much like the other members of some of the other members of the team, I've decided to make them part of one thing. So for comedy, it's something going wrong that turns out to be really nice. I think we see like Doc sometime maybe before arriving at Hargrave House, kind of still like the in between after arriving in London, maybe after losing the job at the American Saloon before joining up with Hargrave House. I think Doc like stays close to, if not in a small room above the hare chasing hounds, and we see Doc like fussing with himself to look like prepare himself for some sort of meeting or a date in his small room in like a small mirror, like slicking his hair back. And then we see whatever it is we see, which I haven't, I guess, ever put into the fiction, but we see Doc grappling with his curse and entering into the kind of state that he gets when he's able to kind of keep things just barely under control, or rather, kind of the drained thing. So not quite under control. He's having to put in a lot of effort. And so that's this unexpected thing going wrong. He has what seems to be an important meeting with someone, but his curse and the kind of primal energies of it seem to be overly taxing to him, and he wanders downstairs to the hair chasing hounds in kind of a daze, jumping at noises a little bit and trying to like make his way to the bar and stumbling. And then you see like he perks up like he's picked up on something, and I don't have like the specific details, but I like this idea of, because Doc is in one of these higher tuned states and the curse is really pushing at the boundaries, Doc picks up on another person in the bar, another person perhaps for the first time who shares a similar affliction. Um, and they're just drawn to each other like magnets. And Doc and this hirsute, mysterious gentleman, uh, just again, they get along swimmingly and end up moving to a room upstairs, which is a lovely night. And it's a great turn of fate. And the mask of tragedy is like sometime later in the hair chasing hounds, this kind of scholarly looking fellow sitting with a couple of old books, some of which are in disrepair and clearly have been repaired over and over the years. Some of which, even just from the closed state, you can tell use really old, outdated printing techniques. And he's just kind of like checking a silver pocket watch, nervously looking around, very clearly out of place. Um, and then I think we cut to just immediately to the next morning as this person is sitting at this desk, very much appears to be waiting for Doc. I think that maybe we can even see a cut of like a letter from Doc to this person talking about how Doc finally tracked this person down and they seem to be an expert in these topics of the occult that Doc needs answers about. Seems to be alluding to his own curse, and this scholar of some variety seems to maybe have some answers. We cut to the next morning, which is Doc waking up with this other cursed individual in a room upstairs above the hair chasing hounds, and then another harsh cut to the morning light of like one of the alleys, the many labyrinthine alleys behind the hair chasing hounds, and the scholar's like roughed up body and emptied bags. And that's the tragedy. Doc was not prioritizing things importantly and letting himself get in the way of himself. And I don't think that he ever found out what even happened to that person he was supposed to meet with all those answers.
Thank you. All right. So, Whitmore, did you want to wait until next time for your... Okay. That's fine. All right. So, yeah, let's like wrap this up with some stars and wishes. I'm just going to start and say, wow, 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 wow. All those masks. Wow. Stars, stars, stars. Too many notes, or like no notes because there's too many of them. So that was fantastic. Yeah, getting back into it. Sorry, like I'm like having brain farting all over the place with remembering what to do with Night Move. So I apologize for that. But thank you for rolling with the punches and the capsizing boats and the you know, the weird unmarried chase like through the theater. So I appreciate you all for putting up with my bullshit. And yeah, I mean like pretty much going through as your characters, and special star for you, Daniel, because I mean X card does not have to necessarily be, oh, it's a terrible situation and we need to just take it out. It can also be something that you don't find pertinent or relevant to your character. So I thought that was a very appropriate use of the X card. So thank you for that, for sure. And then wishes, answer some questions, I guess. More investigation. Try to add more clues, you know, to see about the remaining mysteries. So, I mean, the remaining threats. So, yeah, there's just quite a few things to do, and I'm interested to see what you guys do with them, as always. Okay.
I've got some. One I just changed. I had a wish for Bob I had a wish. We had so many masks that you missed out on, and my wish is that we get to hear Bob's, and then we got to. So never mind about my wish. But started for that end scene with Calliope. That was real. I really like that. And a star for Mads. I love your Wraith, and I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I want to add him to the team. I think the Wraith should be a playbook that somebody can pick up. I'm just yeah.
Oh my God.
I haven't put a foot in the theater since the King in Shadows. So a star for Paul for his at this point I fucking hate the theater. Um and the big star for the babysitter Butler Reeves flashback. That was really cool. And the theatrical version of Darkness and Umbra. I'm glad that made it to the big stage. Star for Jeremy, with the pause. I'm not sure I get the meaning of no more. Like I'm gonna need some clarification on that night move. And I love the pink laundry flashback. That's my stars. Wishes. I think we can answer some questions next time.
Star, my only notes of in session stars are literally all Paul of the masks. I don't think I've laughed more at sad masks before, and that was some of those were just great. Also stars for Bob's masks at the end. I know it's been said, but those were a delight. And Mads, a star for just running a fantastic session. The forgotten night moves aren't an issue. It happens. And I don't think session was any different because of it. As far as wishes go, I'm slowly realizing it's probably going to be up to Whitmore, who still likes the theater, to resolve West End Wraith by himself. So apparently that.
I think my stars are mostly paired in little units. So for Daniel and Jeremy, just stars for our whole little thing by the waterfront. Even though Doc kind of showed up near at the end of it, just the whole thing as a unit was really good, really well paced, and just Lord James Campbell-Hughes and Whitmore doing what they do best. Um, yeah, I loved it. Every moment of that was pitch perfect, including the suspense and fear, as well as the very funny bit at the end where Jeremy and I were yelling because we had gone deaf from the exploding pocket watch. All of that again, just really moving in sync. And then another paired star for Mads and Paul. Paul Victor is usually possessed by such a joy, and you pointed this out in your characterization, but such a joy in the hunt and in the like the challenge and the exertion. And there was very much the souring of that for the first time I think we've seen on screen of Victor, like really just wanting to be done with the hunt because the thing that he's hunting is so objectionable, and the situation itself repellent. I really loved seeing that. I thought that was really cool and really noticeable in your portrayal, even without the kind of added framing and context. And then Matt's just way to make a villain, just really way to make a villain that I was feeling about. Just every bit of characterization, from the decisions made to the word choice, the performance, all of that. It's like one of those things like the fundamentals in basketball, right? Like, sounds simple because you're just shooting a free throw, but like you got to be able to hit that every time. And so like being able to just, hey, here's a villain, you're not gonna like him. It's like, oh, okay, oh, it just really worked. It really worked. And then wishes, I'm gonna put a pin on answering more questions as well, because I'm ready to keep following this momentum all the way to the mastermind. And I feel like we're organically building towards that as well as mechanically building towards that.
For
Yes.
me,
Okay, sorry.
yeah, for me, stars to Daniel. I always love hearing your masks because you come up with such like great random names for things. I always like to hear about the Feywild lore. Like the last mask you had like weird like sword dancers, and this time it's just like really like very calmly dropped, very evocative names of things, and it's always fun to hear. Star for Whitmore today. Because like yeah, the past few sessions, it's like Whitmore with all the adventure that he's been through has started to just like be more just like, yeah, Lord James Campbell-Hughes, why don't we do more fun stuff? And it was really interesting to see that like finally like come to a head. Or like Whitmore really put himself out there, and it was just so heartbreaking to see Lord James Campbell-Hughes just do like the Lord James Campbell-Hughes things of just like, no, we're professionals. We do our job and we kill monsters with more. What else is there? And like seeing that like reach the head was really very satisfying narratively. Star for Doc, yeah, it was just like it was like the time, like I always appreciate very good comedic timing of just like they came out Hughes and Whitmore having this very tense scene, and then Doc coming in at just the right moment to be like, hey guys, woo, wasn't that crazy? And it was just very well done. Start for that. And then start to Mads, because like it really did feel like I was going against the villain. The Wraith felt very much like, you're never gonna catch me, Batman. Was like, it was very like clearly just like annoying villain. And it was very good to come against that. And wishes for next time. Yeah, I'm interested to see the circus. Probably gonna go there. See what that's all about. Especially, I think the circus is like, I don't know if it's actually what happened, but it feels. I know Ben, the writer of the Beetle, also had like a circus mastermind he was working on. So I don't know if that's like part of that, or if it was like converted into part of that. Just seeing how that has developed over time will be interesting to me. Um, Seeing like like vulnerable move scenes. I don't think I haven't had a condition in a while, so I haven't done a vulnerable move scene with someone. So wish just to be able to do that with someone next time will be cool. And yeah, just seeing where everything goes after this, since we're very close to the end, seeing where everything ends up, it's going to be really interesting.
For definite sure. I'm almost scared because I mean like considering how you're collecting clues and such, it's like I worry that, oh no, will you resolve all of these threats, but then because we haven't quite hit the, you know, the last few mastermind clues, that I'm gonna give you another mystery. Oh no. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't know. And as to your inquiry about the mastermind, I think in the first revision that we play tested, I mean, like there was more of that feel of the circus type mastermind being hinted at or like kind of drawn into this particular threat. But I think he's downplaying it to keep it as just a particular threat. And maybe, I mean, like if you were going to do that in the context of that person maybe eventually being a mastermind, then maybe it'll be more put out. But I mean, for right now, for the Beetle, that particular person, the ringmaster, is just the ringmaster and circus owner for this threat. So, I mean, you already have a mastermind, so we don't need another one. I mean, it's not like Jasad's coming in and like, running rampant. So that, thank goodness I'm not doing that. So, yeah. It's all good. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing how you guys start off day phase. Excuse me. Want to do like any remaining masks held over from today or last time, and then we will get to vulnerable moves and day phase and further investigation, and then hopefully answering a question or two to wrap up some threats. Worst comes to worst, it's like, I'm just gonna throw a mastermind clue for the remaining time
that we have together, or for the remaining threats, and we'll go from there. So.
Hey, we only need 14. We don't.
Oh,
we
that's
don't
right,
need-
because it's lower because of you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Never mind. Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, once we hit 2 more clues, that's all we need. Oh my gosh, 2 more clues.
Full day of investigating. We'll see.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. So, you guys have a wonderful couple weeks? Couple weeks. Yeah, couple weeks. And then we will see you on the 8th for a new cycle to begin. Alrighty? So, happy gaming for everything. If I don't see you for more stuff in between. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.